Hi there, this is Chris from MoneyHub, and this video looks at how to use a house insurance calculator. So why this is really relevant is because every time you insure a property, or if you're switching insurance or renewing insurance, that you need to make sure that the amount that you've insured for is going to cover the cost of replacing slash rebuilding should disaster happen. Now, disasters didn't seem to happen often, and now, sometimes houses would burn down. Sometimes, of course, in the case of Christchurch, it would be total destruction. But with regards to recent cyclone events and flooding, there's been a lot more claims for full rebuilds. And so we're just wanting to put out this information so people know exactly what the costs are of having to rebuild, so they can make an informed choice when they calculate their insurance. So it's probably just useful to see that, there's a lot of articles around this. This is from July of 2022, construction costs rising at the fastest pace. You've got something from Radio New Zealand saying that from October 2022, there was a report that, construction costs increased around 10%. And then you've got specialist trades, publications from the likes of CoreLogic, they're saying that things are at a record high. And what this means is that if you do need to rebuild, then you will be paying these construction costs, but your insurance is only going to cover the amount which you insured for. It's not going to cover, an unlimited amount. It's going to be priced on, the exact amount of money. So how this works is that I'm just going to take you through a quote to sort of show you how this is driven and how it's really important to make sure you've got the right amount. So let's go to house insurance here. I've just used Tower as an example. You can use any insurer. And of course, the best example is the best process is to insure is to compare as many as possible, because that way you're going to be getting, the best possible pricing. And then I'm just going to type in a sample address here, and that's going to drive the price, or the value of the property. So what they've done is they've pulled out this information from Cordell, and Cordell is CoreLogic's kind of tool for using, for estimating rebuild costs. And it's exactly what we link out to on the MoneyHub site. So I just wanted but I'll get to that in a second. So what we've got here is you have to check the details, and you can see when the year was the year the house was built, and then the floor area. And then you can see that there's some, different wall material. Check all that. This is loaded from the building records, but you want to make sure it's accurate. And then what you can say is that, yes, I'm going to agree to that, and I'm going to get a rebuild cost. Now there's a breakdown, and the breakdown is going to be the building costs. And of course there's professional fees. So that's going to be architects or, council fees, consents, all that stuff, plus the demolition fees to remove these are our estimates. But this is to obviously remove any, destroyed building. And then you've got GST on top of that too. So that's how they get 803,000. Of course, if you are to say, well, actually, no, my house has grown, and you haven't updated that, then if you put in 200 square meters, then that's going to obviously jump up the price. And that's largely going to be around it's going to, everything kind of goes up there. But it's just worth knowing that does drive it. So if I actually use another tool, which is more comprehensive, and it's the same system driving the information, but we've linked to the CoreLogic Cordell Sum Insure, and I'm going to type in the same address so people understand exactly how this works. And then I just push agree to that. And then what it's going to come up with, it's going to come up with the same year and the same kind of records, but it's got way more specific questions, and you can actually adjust things to suit. So should you have more than one bathroom, then you can change all that, and kitchens and bedrooms and all sorts of things like that. What you can see though is that the price, which based on the information, is the same as what Tower is, because I think it's about $1 out. So it's $1 out here, 220 versus 221. Not so significant, but it's really important that this amount is right, because the last thing you want is to insure for $803,000 for example, but find out that to actually replace your property is going to cost $1 million or $900,000, and that's not too unrealistic when things have been increasing 10% per year. So it's really, really valuable just to go through and make sure all this information is accurate, and really just, if you do want to change things, actually you've got 4 bedrooms and you've got 2 bathrooms, well, then it's likely that that is going to be a sort of, add on to the cost. And so you can see already it's jumped up about $26,000 just by adding the bathroom and 1 extra bedroom. Even though it's within the same square meterage, that actually adds to extra fit out costs. And so that's why you get these different prices. So going back to this, you want to be able to change your rebuild costs to reflect exactly what you want. So if you put in 830, that's one example of what it could be. And then it's going to ask you a question: has your house been identified as a risk or natural hazard? So that's going to drive the insurance as well, because of course, if it's yes, then it's very risk-based pricing, i.e. you're a higher risk, so you will pay more. So that's something that's really important. It didn't used to be, but certainly it is now. And I just want everyone to be aware of the fact that these prices are changing, which is why it's really important to get your comprehensive evaluation done from these tools, just so that you're not exposed should you be one of the unfortunate people that have to replace their house should some future disaster happen. And just going back to our guide, because whilst the video talks more about using the tool, it's really, really important just to have a read through this. And, because the insurers are not going to insure for the home replacement value. They're going to insure for exactly what you've insured it for. So it's not the onus isn't on them to say, okay, well, your house has been destroyed, we're going to just make right, and it's going to cost whatever it costs. That they're going to pay out what you've insured it for. And we've also commented around, how accurate is this tool? Well, the reality is it's as accurate as it can be, and it's used widely by insurance companies, but it's not going to consider every possible feature of a home. So that's why if you are cautious, of you being underinsured, then it's always good to just increase the amount slightly, or whatever you think that you're comfortable with, because the reality is you will pay more for that insurance as a result, because the risk is larger for the insurer in terms of payout, but it will protect you should the unfortunate happen. Then also we've sort of made some comments around limitations. So if you have sort of high-end luxury fittings, if you've got building consents that are quite complicated, and then, building in unique locations, things with steep slopes, all that kind of stuff, then the consents and all that cost can be, much higher. Just because you're rebuilding, that doesn't mean that you can't do it without consents. You have to pretty much start from scratch. So you have to be fully aware that, your insurance needs to pay out for all of this. And that's why, Tower's got it pretty accurate there with how they break it down. I mean, I say pretty accurate. That's how they've done it, and they've shown you. But if you're not comfortable with that and you think it could be more, then, it's really up to you to increase that amount. So this is the kind of fun now that's happening with home insurance. It's very, very sensitive to price. I know the costs are increasing at around, and that's reality from just years of natural disasters and a whole bunch of more risks coming on board. There's earthquakes, there's everything. But we really want people to just be aware that this is a serious problem, and the last thing you want to be is underinsured. So please have a look at all the insurance companies. We've linked down below to our comparison of home insurance. We've also linked, of course, to our home insurance calculator guide, and that kind of has more tools. It has more explanations. But if you do have any questions, please let us know in the comments below, or you can also write to us, because we want our information to be as comprehensive as it possibly can be. And that means we really sort of rely and really value people's feedback and people's questions, so we can improve our guides Thank you very much for watching, and best of luck with your home insurance quotes.